Thank you. All right, so we'll jump right in as long as everyone can see my screen okay. Great, okay. All right, so good afternoon. My name is Eliza Sylvia, and I'm first-year PhD student in the Department of Communication at the University of Ottawa. I'd first like to thank the Humanities Graduate Student Association at York University for organizing this conference and inviting me to speak. Today, I'll be sharing with you my exploratory research on the identity construction on social media as seen on the reality television show, The Circle.
Eliza, I'd like to interrupt. I don't think your video is playing. If
oh no, okay. Are you seeing my, sorry about that guys, are you seeing, maybe it'll work. Is it working now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Oh my gosh, okay. All right. Circle U.S.A. is an American reality show created by Netflix. It is one of 3 spin-offs of the original version of the show that first aired in 2018 in the United Kingdom. To date, there is 1 season of the American version, which I analyzed for this research project. The objective of the show is to be one of the top 2 most highly rated players and avoid being blocked by the other participants for the duration of the competition. Players must privately rate the other contestants at regular intervals. The top 2 most highly rated players are announced as the influencers and must jointly decide on which fellow player they want to block and eliminate from the competition. At the end of the competition, the most popular player wins the cash prize of $100,000. Presumably, all players are doing anything in their power to create alliances and reduce their chances of being blocked throughout the competition to make it to the final ratings. Based on this foundation and my assumptions, I developed the following research question. What are the tactics used by players to create a likable or popular identity based on their perception of what North American culture considers popular online users to look like? I based my observations in 2 sociological theories and 1 psychological phenomenon to aid in explaining the behaviors exhibited by the persons on this show. Symbolic interactionism suggests that people create the meaning of things through interactions, and that these assigned meanings are ever changing. Conflict theory posits that populations under pressure generate new ideas, and people are in a constant conflict over the availability of resources. Disembodiment is a large part of the identity construction process in online environments. One form of disembodiment that is commonly seen on the internet is catfishing, the process of creating an online identity using photos, videos, and sometimes a name that does not belong to the profile creator. Each of these can be used to explain the process of forming and maintaining an online identity. Once an identity has been created, in order for users to be successful in this environment, they must maintain a level of popularity, typically measured by the amount of likes or followers a profile has. Users accomplish this through a series of impression tactics. I found that the players on the circle use 6 tactics to construct their identities and increase their level of popularity in the game. Players use sexuality to gain favor with other players, specifically those that they felt they would have the greatest potential to find them attractive and feel flattered. The players that utilized this method of ingratiation were found to be more flirtatious at the beginning of the season compared to at the end. Players utilized the private messaging tool to engage with specific players and have targeted conversations. This tactic was used in some format by every player throughout the season. Players associated the use of private messaging function as a tool to create and maintain alliances throughout the season. Players believed that having more personal communication with other members of the circle, they created a bond that would benefit them when it came time to rate and block. The contestants regularly used the terms alliance or ally when describing their relationship with other players. Players who decided to catfish and those who used their real names and photos both placed a high value on being authentic. Players who catfished regularly stated that they were being authentic with their personalities and the relationships they developed. Players who did not catfish believed that being as authentic online as they are in real life would help them win and be better liked. Additionally, when the catfishing players were revealed, the majority of the remaining players wished that the others had not catfished and come into the game as themselves. Partway through the competition, players began to act more strategically in their communication choices with others, with the objective of winning the circle. This tactic was most evident when players had to submit their ratings and influencers had to decide who to block. Out of the 13 profiles created in the season, 5 of these profiles were classified as being catfishes. 4 of the catfish profiles stayed in character until they were either blocked from the competition or made it to the finale. The players all use some form of self-branding when constructing their online identities for this game. However, the players that chose to catfish demonstrated a more targeted and strategic approach to their identity construction. The catfishing players used disembodiment of the self and varying levels of ingratiation to earn their level of popularity in the game. Most of these players believed that their personalities would be well received, but that their physical appearances would not. This led to the strategic selection of culturally acceptable outward appearances that they paired with their own thoughts, feelings, and words. One male player who chose to impersonate a female used this disembodiment to pair his more sensitive personality with the physical appearance of a woman, a more culturally accepted symbol of empathy, sympathy, and expressive emotion. There exists a significant amount of stereotyping based on what North American culture deems as most socially acceptable. The players who catfish believe that they would be liked for their authentic personalities, but would be assumed unpopular because of their appearance and physical appearance. Stefanon and Lakoff are quoted as saying that contrary to earlier theories about the decreasing influence in gender in internet-mediated environments, gender is a powerful predictor of some online behaviors. This is especially true in the case of the aforementioned player. Based on stereotypes and his real-world experiences, he believed he was too sensitive for a heterosexual man, driving his decision to enter the circle as a woman. Overall, players were far more likely to use impression management tactics such as self-branding and ingratiation to earn popularity. Although this seems like the most successful way to gain popularity online, multiple players were quoted as saying that they felt these tactics made identities of those players feel fake. Interestingly, one player who used an equal combination of self-promotion and self-branding and chose not to catfish was perceived as being the most authentic. And over time, he went from being the least popular player to the consistently most popular player in the ratings. This player did not engage in flirting and did not use ingratiation to alter his identity. Although applying the concept of consistent branding to a person presents a challenge, because consistency in personal presentation is very difficult to sustain, this player was ultimately successful in creating and maintaining a consistent brand or identity authentic to his real-world embodied self. Fellow researchers have asked the question about reality television stars. To what extent may they be simply performing constructed cultural identities that have not already been, in some sense, assigned to them? This show touched on many aspects of North American culture, from sexuality, gender, and traditional identity stereotypes. As society continues to renegotiate the meanings of actions and symbols, I believe it is the duty of communication and sociological researchers to develop a greater understanding of how these meanings impact relationships and communication in everyday life. I believe that this exploratory research demonstrates the need for future empirical studies to further examine the relationship between the demonstration of social media on reality television and real-life social media use. Future studies should use both quantitative and qualitative methods to investigate the effects that televised social media use has on real-life users and the part it plays in the renegotiation of societal norms and communication behaviors. Thank you.